Guys, so I'm Dr. Daniel, a retired medical doctor who is running farms. I've been a farmer for just over 5 years right now, and when I started way back, I had to spend almost all the time that I had off work on the farm just to ensure that, the guys are not stealing and everything is going well, and I'm literally having my eye on everything. Currently, I can spend a month, 2 months, a long time away from the farm, and I'll still be certain that the farm is running well. Why? What makes the difference? Because I've figured out how to actually get other people to work for me. What that means is that I've figured out how to hire the right people to represent you on the farm. And in today's video, this is what I'm going to be sharing with you. I want to teach you how you can actually hire the right people on the farm so that your farm is successful and you can get the best results even in your absentia. So if that is you, stick around right through to the very end. All right, we'll get right into the core of it. So first of all, why is hiring important? Why is it so important that you hire the right people on the farm? Now, if you do understand, or well, if you're human, then you do know that there is limited time under the sun, yeah? We all have 24 hours. With all the resources that we can ever have on the world or in life, the only resource that you can't replace is time, yeah? Of course, there's a lot of other things that you can't access, for example, the sun, but you can harvest more of the sun or less of the sun. You can make more money, you can literally make more of everything, but you can't make more time. All time that is lost is gone. You can never gain it back. So what does that mean? What that means is that previously or in the past, people used to work and sell their time for money. Yeah. So before I quit my job as a doctor, I was working as a doctor, and I was literally trading my time for money. So if I work 12 hours, I'm going to get paid for that time. And if I can get another job, maybe work another, 4 hours, that's 16 hours that I'm working, I get paid that more money. Then maybe I have 8 hours to rest. But if I want, I can work another 4 hours, and now I have 4 hours to rest. Maybe I can sleep in those 4 hours. And now I do have 3 jobs for which I'm getting paid. Yeah. Now, what that means is that, let's imagine I'm being paid, let's say, $5,000 for the first job, $2,000 for the second one, and $2,000 for the third. That's $9,000. Now, hypothetically speaking, it would be impossible for me to earn $20,000 a month as a doctor unless they increase my pay, because the only way that I would be able to do that is by increasing the time that I work. And I can't work for over 24 hours. Even if I manage to work 24 hours every day, which is really not practical, it's not possible, I would probably be earning, maybe 10 or 12,000, just using that hypothetical example. So what then you need to do in order for you to be able to replace your time or to exchange your time for something better is by paying other people for their time, yeah? So now you're not exchanging your time for money, but you're paying other people for your time. So that's what the hospital owner does, the hospital where I was working. The hospital owner, maybe he's also a doctor, could decide to work in the different units. He would be getting paid for his time. But instead of doing that, he decides that, hey, let me just hire more doctors, place them in the same hospital. I'll probably have like 20 doctors in the hospital, and all of them are giving me 8 hours. So I'm getting, quite an amount of time every day. That's 160 hours every day from the different doctors. So in 24 hours, I'm getting 160 hours from 20 doctors. That means I can, multiply that time into money. So if he's probably only able to do 8 hours and get paid like $10, if he does 160 hours, he's going to be paid way more. Now, of course, he has to sacrifice some of that money in terms of a salary to those doctors, but it's still better than what he could ever do alone. Same exact reason as to why you need to hire people, yeah? So when you do start something, when you do start a farm, when you do start a business, yeah? Of course, farms are businesses. A lot of people don't take farms to be businesses, and therein is the mistake, because, you start out something, but you don't pay a lot of attention to it, and you end up, making mistakes and losing out on a lot of money, yeah? But if you consider and start thinking about the farm as a proper business, an actual business, then you're going to make very intentional decisions about, the rewards and the things that you want to get out of your farm. So, of course, farms are businesses. Very, very good businesses. They can be very good businesses if you deal with them very well, yeah? So when you're starting out your farm, at first, like when I started out, I was exchanging my time for money. But later on, as I got better and understood the whole farming thing better, I understood that I have to be able, to get other people to work for me, because I don't want to be tied down, yeah? Despite the fact that I do love farming, I do love, the farm environment. I mean, guys, look at this. Who wouldn't love all this greenery in the background? Yeah, it all looks beautiful. This is I'd say a cattle shed. It's a paddock where the cattle, you know, stay and sleep. It has enough grass and things like that. Really beautiful. Who wouldn't love this? But even with all this, I wouldn't love to like live my entire life here. You know, I have other things that I would love to do. So what that means is that I would have to step out. You don't want the farm to literally be a job for you. Yeah, you want to be able to, you know, do other things, and that's why hiring is important. Yeah. So what hiring does is that, number one, it's able to multiply your efforts. Yeah. So if you're very good at hiring, you'll get people who are very good at doing particular things, and it multiplies your efforts because now you have, you know, just like one doctor got 20 doctors, he's able to multiply his efforts in 20 times on the same farm. So same exact thing, you're able to multiply your effort because you can get people to do way more than you could do alone. That's number one. Number two, it's able to set you free to go and do things that you're better at. Yeah. So maybe your best way of, you know, working on the farm is through creative work. You know, being able to think, reason, come up with ideas to implement on the farm. Honestly, for me, that's the best part of, for me, working on the farm, being able to come up with these ideas that I can implement on the farm, you know, building up the new structures, making the plans and implementing particular things. That's for me the best thing that I can do when it does come to the farm. And so I would rather focus most of my attention there instead of, you know, focusing my attention on, you know, feeding the chickens, mixing the feed, selling the eggs, counting the money. I would rather not focus on those things. So it frees you up to do the things, you know, that you would love to do. But number three, it even enables the farm to grow quicker because you're able to get people who are better than you at doing particular things. Yeah, I'll give you guys a quick example. Earlier on, when I started shooting these videos, I used to shoot and edit and do all these videos myself. I thought I was good and the videos were good, and I honestly thought I would never get a good editor, but I managed to get an editor, and certainly the videos are better edited now. So not only have I gotten leverage in that I can do more videos, I can do other things like at the other times, but I can even get better videos than what I was doing myself. Same exact thing when it does come to the farm, yeah? If you do hire someone who is really good at a particular thing, whether it's, you know, looking after the chickens and, you know, understanding the management, they are better than you. You get better productivity because they're better than who you are, yeah? So you hire a specialist and, you know, they get great results from you. So that is the thing, yeah? Hiring is very, very important, and because of these key reasons, it's always important for you to understand that you need to get to the point where you're okay and comfortable with getting other people from outside. And it's true that when it does come to farming, a lot of people have this, you know, belief that, you know, farming is complicated, it's difficult to get people who you can trust and all these things. And that is true. It's honestly true, but it's the same for all other businesses, yeah? It's difficult to get people who you can trust, but in any way, we still do trust them. And I believe the main reason as to why, I mean, the results are much worse in farming is because people who hire in farming don't hire qualified people. No, they don't. Yeah, they feel like it's okay to hire qualified people in everything else, apart from when it does come to a farm. Yeah, and that's why, you know, we are talking about this video. That's why we are diving deeper into this video, for you to just understand how you can actually hire better people for your farm. So after understanding why hiring is important, we go to point number 2. You need to know before you hire. You need to understand the ins and outs of the business before you hire. Now, I'm not saying that you need to be an expert at the business, but you need to understand basics of how the farm works before you hire. Yeah, very, very important. Because if you do hire people and you don't understand how the things work, one of two things is going to happen. Number one, you're going to feel insufficient. Yeah, you're going to feel insufficient when it does come to the farm, because you're going to hire all these experts and they're going to come around on the farm and you're going to feel insufficient. And when you feel insufficient, they hold you ransom. That's the problem, yeah? So they hold you ransom. So you reach a particular point where you're like, okay, I don't know how to do this. This guy knows how to do it. If I let them go, probably they're stealing from the farm. They're a manager, but they're stealing. You have proof that they're stealing. You're like, but if I let them go, who the hell am I going to get? Who am I going to get? Yeah, I mean, this guy has been doing stuff very well. So if I let them go, I'm going to lose money. So it is very, very important that you understand that. Yeah, you need to understand the business very well, that you don't feel like you are their masses. Yeah, if you wake up a particular day and you feel like they're stealing, you're okay with letting them go because you know you can always get someone else. But also because you understand that in their absentia, the business can actually still continue because you know what to do, yeah? So you could sacrifice a week, be around, do some work on the business or the farm while you look for other people to hire, you know, to replace them on the farm. So yes, first of all, it's really, really important that you know what to do. But the second reason why is because if you don't know what to do, then if you're not going to get insecure and feel inferior, you're going to do the exact opposite, which is feel superior. So you're going to want to implement your authority. Yeah. So it's like you impose yourself. You become an authoritarian, but an ignorant authoritarian. An ignorant authoritarian is really terrible, because then you'll carry out all the actions with a lot of convictions, with a lot of aura and everything, but you're carrying it out the wrong way. You understand? Yeah. So you need to make sure that you know what you're doing, so that even when you don't know, you understand that you don't know, and you bring someone in to do the work, but you still retain your confidence of, okay, this I don't understand how to technically implement it, but I get the idea around it and the theory, and that helps you make better decisions. Yeah. So you need to really understand what you're doing. So if you're doing poultry business, you need to understand how poultry business works. Understand the whole production cycle, understand selling, understand all those things before you get people to get in. Again, I said you don't need to be an expert, but at least understand the basics of it. The third step is to focus on the managers. Yeah. Now the managers are like the top people. Yeah. It depends on, of course, on the scale of your farm. If your farm is probably a farm of 1,000 birds, you probably only need one worker, and you're probably the manager. Yeah. So things could be different. But if you have a bigger farm, like for me, this is a breeder farm, so we have a breeder unit. We also have some other animals. We have a feed mill where we mix the feed. We have a hatchery. All those units have what you'd call a manager, and above those there's also a manager, and you need to pay a lot of attention to the managers, because the managers are like the most technical people. They're the most skilled people, especially when it does come to a farm. Yeah, a lot of the people who are going to be working on the ground level, we call them the foot soldiers. A lot of them don't need to be very technically gifted. Yeah, I mean, if we are working inside the poultry unit, what work is going to be done? They are collecting eggs, feeding the chickens, moving litter around, dusting the walls. Anyone can do that work. Yeah, but understanding, the theory of mixing feed and the feed ratios, taking the weights of the birds, the weight targets, the uniformity of the birds, the nutrition, those things need someone whose brains work, and you need to make sure that you get the correct managers. Yeah, so you need to focus on ensuring that you do have the right managers on the farm. I mean, when it does come to farming, honestly, from my experience, farming is not as technical. Now, I could be a bit biased, or I could maybe have a gifting in that for me it does come easily, understanding everything about farming, maybe because of my history in medicine or biology or things like that. And for some people it's a bit harder. But honestly, from experience and from what I know, farming is not as complicated as, for example, construction or engineering or all these other things. No, it's not as complicated. It's not as complicated as medicine. So I feel like anyone can actually learn how to manage a farm. Yeah, anyone who is dedicated. Yeah, so you can read up as much as possible about the feeding and all those things. You can, but whether you've learned that information or not, I feel like the most important thing is get someone who has great managerial skills. Yeah. Now, of course, if the section is going to require that they understand a bit of medicine, they understand a bit of animal health care, it's better that you get someone who is in that line. But you can get someone who is in that line, but they are very terrible at management. They are very terrible at managing people. They are very terrible at giving instructions. They are very terrible at following instructions. They are very terrible. They have a high ego. Management is not about high egos. Yeah. In managing a farm, if someone has a high ego, they are going to fail. Someone needs to be open to learning, needs to be able to understand other people, talk to other people, and things like that. Yeah. So you need to make sure that you get the right people for something like that. Get the correct managers, pay attention to the managers, because if you pay attention to the managers are going to ensure that you get the correct people on the lower levels. Yeah, so hire the right managers, make sure they are properly, they have the mental ability to reason out when it does come to things on the farm. So step number 4, or point number 4, is train the farm workers. Yeah, train them, train. Yeah, you need to make sure that these people are trained. I mean, it doesn't make sense to bring people onto the farm and just throw them there. Yeah. First of all, you need to make sure that the manager themselves is trained. And who trains the manager? Most probably you, the farm owner. You're the one who's going to take up that responsibility of training the manager. Yeah. You need to, go through quite a number of reiterations. Teach them that, hey, when something like this comes up, this is how you deal with it. A lot of times I face issues with, some of my managers. Yeah. And, he'll be dealing with a particular issue, or there's a worker who has had a particular problem, and then he'll call you and he's like, I'm having this problem and this one and this problem. What do I do? You understand? Or what should I tell the person to do? So I don't tell them what to tell the person to do. I sit them down and explain to them, the basics of the situation that they are in. You understand? For example, a particular worker got up and argued with another worker, and you know, they ended up not doing the work. Something like that, because they had a disagreement. And like, so these guys haven't done this, what do I tell them to do? I'm like, hey, that's not the point, yeah? In this particular example, the problem could be this, but hey, this is how you actually deal with the situation where one worker deals with another worker. So you sit down and go through the basics, and then you're like, okay, so this person said this, but do you think that it would have been better if they had a conversation and decided to decide on it themselves instead of coming to you for a problem? And like, yeah, I think it's a good idea. Well, I think, so in such conditions or in such positions, it's better that you sit them down and let them have a conversation and then, go on like this. So you teach them how to deal with similar circumstances in the future instead of having to solve for them each and every problem that comes your way. Yeah. So that's how training goes on. Yeah. So that's how you train a manager, for example. Yeah. Training a farm worker, you might not be the one to physically train the farm workers, or maybe you might if you're still the manager. And when someone comes in, you take them through the simple basics. If you do have maybe a training manual, it would be great for you to have a training manual. I personally don't have a training manual because I have protocols, particular protocols to follow, and it's easy for me to use those protocols to train the people. So I'd be like, at this time this is what happens, at this time this is what happens, this is how we do this is how we do this, and it's all on the protocols, and I'll take them through that. Yeah. So you need to make sure that you have a systematic way of training the workers on your farm to ensure that you do have the best results. And finally, number 5 is having a good rewarding system. Yeah. So you need to make sure that you've developed a system on the farm that can be used to reward workers. So if a worker is good, you need to make sure that you recognize them. If someone is bad, you need to make sure that you recognize them too. So that might mean, firing them, or, decreasing the amount of money they're earning, or, some form of fine, whatever it is. Yeah. You need to make sure that you can identify them. Yeah. So it is very, 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 very important that when someone is working, they feel appreciated. If they are good, they feel appreciated. Yeah. And also for someone to feel like they're developing, they're getting better, they're improving at, whatever information that you're giving them, and whatever they are doing, whatever skills they're getting. It's important for someone to feel that they're improving, both financially, but also skill-wise and things like that. So you need to make sure that, you develop a good, system for rewarding the best performers. So it might be, money, some extra incentives on the farm. These ensure that you keep the best people around on your farm, because when you do this, people will not run away. Yeah, people will not run away. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, smash the notification bell. That way you never miss an upload. Catch you very soon with another video. Lots of love. Bye-bye.